You won't believe this, but there are towns in Europe that are paying thousands of dollars just for you to move in. No citizenship required. No need to be wealthy. All you have to do is relocate and begin a new life. And no, this isn't a real estate ad. This is an actual government policy from countries like Italy and Spain. They're not just offering cheap homes. They're giving you cash, free residency, and sometimes even open fields, just waiting for someone to bring the lights back on. Why do they want you so badly? And do you really qualify for these offers? Watch until the end, because you might just discover the place you belong. Is the forgotten village the world left behind? You don't need to be rich to live in peace. You just need to choose the right place to begin again. Comment the name of the country you'd like to try living in for 1 month. And if you're also searching for a lighter, freer life, hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started exploring the places that are ready to welcome you. 5. Italy. A whisper from the heart. Have you ever imagined waking up on cobblestone streets, where golden sunlight kisses lavish Baroque walls, and the scent of freshly pressed olive oil lingers in the air? Can you believe that a small town in southern Italy, Residency, is opening its arms, inviting you to become part of that fairy tale, with a grant of up to €30, 000, just to come and call this place home? Join me on a journey to the heart of Puglia, where beauty, culture, and the playful charm of Italian life await your discovery. Residency, the hidden gem of the Salento region, is not just a town, it's a whisper from history, a vivid canvas of Baroque architecture, and a symphony of endless olive groves. Named one of the most beautiful villages in Italy, this place feels like a poem, where every alley, every ancient palace is a verse. But oh, has fate turned its back? The population is shrinking fast, with only 60 births compared to 150 deaths in a single year. And so, the town has extended an emotional invitation €30,000 to purchase and restore an old home, plus a €1,000 bonus for every child born. This isn't just financial aid, it's a promise. A chance to begin a new chapter, where you write the story. Imagine stepping into a centuries-old house, where the walls whisper tales of time gone by, and with the town's support, you transform it into your home. It's not just relocation, it's a rebirth. Of you. Of the house. Of an entire community longing to breathe again. Could anything be more meaningful than becoming the hero in the story of reviving an Italian town? Let me tell you about Uncle Mario. A true Italian, living in Residency, who once made the whole town burst into laughter. When he heard about the incentive program, Uncle Mario, famous for being legendarily frugal, declared €30,000. I'll buy the whole alley and turn it into my own olive oil museum. But life isn't always a dream. He found a cheap old house, only to discover it had once been home to a herd of goats. I thought I was buying a house. Turns out I bought a whole farm. He groaned, broom in hand, chasing away the last of the goats. In the end, with help from the grant, Uncle Mario turned the goat shed into a lovely little home, where he now hosts wine parties that make the whole village envious. He laughed. Who would have guessed from goats to diva? All it took was a bit of money and a whole lot of love for Italy. Uncle Mario's story is proof that in Residency, every home carries a tale, and you could be the one to write the next chapter, maybe with less drama than Uncle Mario, but certainly no less interesting. A beauty that touches the heart. Just imagine walking down the narrow streets of Residency, where every corner is a piece of art. Magnificent Baroque palaces, olive groves stretching out like a hymn to the land. And just a few steps away, Santa Maria de Luca Beach, with white sand and water as blue as gemstones. Is there any place on earth where you can live inside a painting like this? The cost of living here is another highlight. With home prices at just $829 per square meter, much lower than the Lecce province average, and monthly living expenses for a single person only around $700, $1,200, you can live like an Italian king without needing a treasure chest. More than that, Residency isn't just selling houses, it's offering a way of life. It's about slow afternoons sipping espresso in the piazza, dinners with homemade pasta and local wine, and warm smiles from neighbors who treat you like family. But have you ever wondered, do you have the courage to leave the city's rush behind and embrace this peace? Challenges and opportunities. Of course, no dream is perfect. Language barriers might leave you fumbling while trying to order your favorite dish in Italian, and Italy's bureaucracy can sometimes move at the pace of a turtle on a stroll. Old houses, though charming, may need a little love before they feel like home. But think about it, with Euro 30,000-inch support, you could turn a hidden gem into a masterpiece. And don't forget, the locals here are famously friendly. Just say ciao with a smile, and you'll be welcomed like family coming home. Your story starts here. What will you write? Residency isn't just a destination, it's an invitation to become part of history. Which home will you choose to begin your journey? A centuries-old house with a window overlooking the olive groves? Or a cozy corner near the piazza where you can hear the church bells each morning? Share your dream in the comments. What would you bring to breathe life into this town? A French pastry shop? An art studio? Or simply your smile? And if you've been to Puglia before, tell us your story. Did this land steal your heart like it's stealing ours? Follow the official website of the town hall for the latest updates. And begin your journey today. What will you choose, a new life in Italy, or just a little more daydreaming? Let Residency be the one to answer for you. 4. Greece. An invitation from the deep blue sea. Have you ever wondered if there's a place on Earth where time seems to stop, where the sea not only lulls you to sleep but also whispers ancient tales, and where people are offered a house, a piece of land, and $550 a month just to begin a new life? Antikythera, a tiny island in the heart of Greece's Aegean Sea, is quietly calling out to adventurous souls like that. With only 22 square kilometers of land and just 24 permanent residents, this place once had 300 people living here only a few decades ago. The silence of youth, the absence of children's laughter, and the fading rhythm of daily life led the local government and the Greek Orthodox Church of Kythera to launch an unprecedented initiative, inviting families to move in by offering them a house, a plot of land, and €545 a month for 3 years, nearly Euro 20,000, to revive a community slowly disappearing from the map. The homes are still under construction, and applications haven't yet opened, but that only makes this place feel like a dream still forming for those with faith and patience. Imagine a morning on the island, where the sound of waves softly touches the white cliffs, where you're not woken by an alarm clock, but by gentle sunlight filtering through linen curtains and the chatter of seabirds calling to one another on the rooftops. In that setting, there's Mrs. Maria, the owner of the island's only cafe, who is also the grocer, the news source, and sometimes the unofficial therapist for anyone who stops by for a glass of ouzo. When she heard about the relocation program, she joked that if a few more families arrived, she'd open the first supermarket on the island, selling bottled seawater and pure sunlight. One time, a tourist came into her cafe asking for almond milk and gluten-free bread. She laughed, handed him a warm loaf of bread and a glass of local wine. Here, we don't have gluten. We have love and sea salt. That story quickly became island legend, not just for the humor, but because it reflects the simple and warm spirit of this place. Antikythera isn't for everyone. Life here comes without big supermarkets, without shopping malls, without gas stations, and without many of the things you once considered essential in the modern world. But if you can fish, bake, teach, or simply listen to the wind and smile at your neighbor, you'll be welcomed like family. The cost of living here is far lower than on major tourist islands like Crete or Santorini, only about $231 month for groceries, $242 month if you occasionally eat out. And since there are no taxis or cars on the island, you'll save on transportation too. A single person in Greece typically needs around $1,835 month to live comfortably, but in Antikythera, with a minimalist, self-sustaining lifestyle, that figure can be cut by more than half. You won't find movie theaters or malls here, but you might just find a life filled with starry skies, quiet afternoons fishing, nights listening to the waves, and mornings smiling at Mrs. Maria as she hands you a fresh loaf of bread. Beneath the waters surrounding the island lies one of archaeology's greatest mysteries, the Antikythera mechanism, an ancient astronomical device dubbed the world's first computer. And it's not just about the past. This island is also looking toward the future, A new international climate research station is under construction, bringing job opportunities and a deeper connection to the wider world. But do you have the courage to live in a place with only one medical clinic, one small helipad, and two cafes that double as convenience stores? Are you ready to live in the middle of the sea, far from YouTube, in exchange for a slower pace of life where every day is a journey of rediscovering yourself? Antikythera is not just an island, it's an opportunity. An opportunity to start over, to live differently, to write a story no one has ever told. The incentive program hasn't officially opened, and the houses are still being renovated, but that only makes Antikythera feel like a pure dream, an invitation that hasn't yet found the words to speak. If you've ever dreamed of living on an island, where you hear the wind instead of traffic, where a smile is the most valuable currency, then perhaps you've just found your answer. Antikythera is waiting. Not everyone is meant for it. But if your heart quietly stirred as you read this, maybe you are exactly who the island has been calling. Comment what you'd like to say. Anything. Show me where I might be wrong. I'll be grateful for it. Truly. 3. Spain, the land of mountain winds and the promise of empty fields. Some places don't call to you with traffic horns or neon lights, but with birdsong echoing through the hills, with cool breezes from the Asturias range, and wildflowers quietly blooming from dry stone. One autumn morning, the town of Ponga, tucked deep in a valley in northern Spain, seemed to whisper an invitation to those too weary of a hurried world. Come here. We need you. Unlike bustling tourist paradises, this place has no towering resorts or dazzling shopping centers. Ponga has only 581 residents, most of them elderly scattered among red-roofed houses, a community quietly shrinking with each passing year. And for that very reason, they are opening their arms to those brave enough to begin again, not with wallets full of cash, but with dreams and commitment. Here, a couple who moves in receives Euro 3,000 as a welcoming handshake. A newborn child brings another Euro 3,000, a drop of fresh hope on aging soil. Some say the program isn't for retirees, that it favors young families. But in a place where children's laughter has nearly vanished, anyone who can bring life, whether single, a couple, or an old soul, is deeply valued. Life in Ponga doesn't require much money. A full meal at a small local restaurant costs under 12 euros. A whole month of food, groceries, and entertainment fits into about 600 euros. Add rent, and your total monthly living costs sit comfortably around Euro 1,000, a number many in the US or UK spend on electricity alone. But winter comes with a cold warning. The old houses here are poorly insulated. Heating may become an unexpected cost for those coming from sunnier climates. There's no subway or overnight bus. To reach a hospital, you must drive to Ariandas. To attend high school, children must travel to the next town. But that very inconvenience preserves a raw peace you won't find in Madrid or Barcelona. Here, people still call each other by name, still share fresh bread on Sunday mornings, and still believe in something simple. The less we have, the closer we become. A small medical center, a primary school, a few bars that double as diners, that's the center of the entire town. But did you know? Ponga sits within a breathtaking natural park. Bears, wolves, eagles, they still quietly exist around you like secret neighbors. A bit farther lies the Costa Verde coastline, where soft blue waves gently kiss the base of the mountains, as if calling back a Mediterranean memory that never truly faded. And then there will be one afternoon, when you sit on a stone step, holding a glass of Asturian cider, listening to Senora Carmen next door talk about the old winters when the whole town gathered around the fireplace. No one sings anymore. She smiles wistfully, then gently asks, "Do you know how to play guitar?" In Ponga, sometimes you're not just paid to live. You're paid in listening, in closeness, and in having a place to belong. And if you're looking for somewhere to slow down, to rewrite an old chapter, or simply to have a reason to wake up each morning without an alarm clock, Ponga might be the place to begin. So if a small town like Ponga offered you Euro 3,000 to live there, what would you bring in return? A voice? A paella pan? A reason for someone to believe this place is still worth living in? If you think Ponga could be where you start again, leave a comment. What would you bring to this town? A child? A dream? or just yourself with a heart still longing to live. Follow the next video because there are still other lands waiting for you, like unopened letters from the countryside of Europe. 2. Malta, the island that doesn't hand out cash, just fortune. If Ponga is a fairy tale village trying to hold on to time with cash, and Antikythera is a mysterious island calling nostalgic hearts with unfinished homes, then Malta chooses a completely different path. No incentives to lure you in. No promises of €500 a month. Malta stands there proud like a gentleman in a crisp white shirt under the Mediterranean sun, quietly saying, "I don't hand out money. I have tax policy." And strangely enough, many people nod and start rolling their suitcases over. In Malta, the government doesn't need you to have children for a bonus, nor do they ask you to revive a dying fishing village. All they ask is this: if you're retired, with at least 75% of your income coming from a pension, and you want to live in a place where taxes don't bleed your wallet dry, then welcome. Just transfer your income to Malta, and they'll apply a gentle 15% flat tax, an amount many Americans mistake for a promotional rate. And if you don't transfer your entire pension to Malta, that's fine too. They won't tax the portion you keep abroad, which means you can live on the shores of Malta, calmly collecting your retirement, without having to give away the largest slice of your pie. Of course, there's no such thing as a free lunch. You'll need to buy or rent a home, at least €275,000 if you want to buy in central Malta, or just €220,000 if you're open to moving south or to the quiet island of Gozo, as peaceful as an instrumental melody. If you're renting, all you need is €8,750 per year. That's about €730 per month. A completely reasonable price compared to other seaside cities in Europe. Not to mention, you're living in a Mediterranean paradise, where 2 out of every 3 days are filled with sunshine. And there's no property tax. No inheritance tax. No real estate tax. Sounds like an online ad? It's not. That's just how Malta works. Here, the government doesn't peer into your home to estimate its value and send you an annual bill that keeps you up at night. They also don't make your children pay when they inherit the old seaside home you leave behind, filled with memories and ocean breeze. Because in Malta, it seems the only thing they really tax is anyone unwilling to live lightly. However, don't let the tax policy distract you from what truly matters. Malta isn't for those who crave noise. Here, you'll need to get used to seagulls instead of honking horns, and sipping morning coffee with a view of the bay instead of racing through traffic lights. The internet is reliable. Healthcare ranks among the best in Europe. Locals speak clear English, and you'll never run short on vitamin D. But in return, you'll have to endure slow happiness. No drama, no massive protests, just sunshine, seawater, and enough time to finish a novel without anyone texting you in the middle of it. Of course, this program isn't for everyone. If you're looking for a place that pays you first and asks questions later, Malta will disappoint. Here, you need to show stable finances, purchase health insurance, and commit to spending at least 90 days a year living genuinely, not online, not virtually. But if you're looking for a place to lay down your financial burdens, breathe fresh air, and experience retirement that isn't chopped into pieces by bills, then Malta is the ideal place. Malta doesn't lure you with gifts. It invites you with maturity, a kind of invitation that doesn't beg, but makes thoughtful people pause. And if you're torn between countries offering cash and an island that offers no money but plenty of peace, then ask your wallet, then ask your heart. Because sometimes, a good tax policy is the quiet gift only those who've lived long enough truly appreciate. If you too are searching for a place to breathe deep, live slow, and feel welcomed, hit that subscribe button. Because who knows? The place you belong might be waiting in the next video. 1. Switzerland, a snowy village, inviting you to be its neighbor. Not everyone knows this, but behind Switzerland's snow-capped mountains lies a tiny village straight out of a fairy tale, where every winter weaves a thick snow blanket over slate-roofed homes, and every summer, wildflowers stretch beneath the Alps like a silk painting. This is Albanen, a village that truly wants you to become its new neighbor, not just with a smile, but with cold, hard cash. The local government, in an effort to keep the village from vanishing off the map, announced it would pay you up to $23,000 if you're under 45. Move in and stay for at least 10 years. Have young kids? Add another $11,500 per child because schools need laughter and spring roads need tiny feet running through them. But money isn't the only thing that makes Albanın special. Imagine living somewhere without traffic noise, where mornings bring only the sound of a small church bell and cows grazing with bells around their necks on the hillside. Albanın doesn't have big supermarkets, but it does have fresh bread baked each morning in a stone oven, and the post office is also where people drop off birthday cards. You can work remotely, open a homestay, or simply slow down in a place where time, strangely enough, seems to melt into the golden afternoon sun on the mountain slopes. Of course, nothing is completely free. You'll need to buy or build a home worth at least 200,000 Swiss francs, and promise not to take the money and run. Albanın isn't a place for short-term nomads. It's for those who want to step off the hamster wheel and begin again with a life that's simple, kind, and lasting. And in a world where everyone is rushing to the cities, maybe doing the opposite, moving to a small village tucked in the clouds, is actually the boldest choice of all. Albanın doesn't promise you'll become rich, but perhaps, there, you'll discover a kind of wealth the city never taught you, a life where neighbors know your name, where there are mountains to greet you each morning, and where the future is built not on competition, but on peace. Would you dare leave the city behind in exchange for serenity and $23,000? Leave a comment. I'd truly love to know. Would you choose Albanın, or would you stay right where you are? They once said no one's going to pay you just to live. And yet, there are tiny villages nestled in the snowy Swiss Alps. There are quiet towns in the Italian countryside, missing the laughter of children. There are empty beaches waiting for someone to bring them back to life. And you realize the world isn't short on places to begin again. You just have to be willing to leave. They're not just offering you a place to stay. They're offering you the chance to start over at the pace you once lost. You don't need to be rich. You just need to choose the right place. If you could pick one place to try living for a month, where would it be? A village beneath the Alps? Or a seaside haven in southern Europe? Comment below. I want to hear about your dream.